about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider.
All right, we are back on Dr. Dahlia Show.
Here's Dr.
1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOCDALI. So to PTO or not PTO, that is the question. It's very interesting because many people are looking at their paid time off. And as we're coming up to the end of the year, they're going, do I use it? Do I not use it? Should I have used less throughout the year? Should I have used more? And it's interesting how nobody ever really kind of thinks ahead as it pertains to their, well, some people do, but how the majority of people don't think ahead as it comes to their PTO. And then when they do want to use it, they feel like they're going to tick off their boss, or they're kind of confused. Should they save it and then cash it out? So paid time off, it really differs based on where you work. And so with some jobs, your PTO or your, let's say, vacation time, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so if you don't use it by a certain day, it doesn't carry over. It won't carry over to the new year. You can't cash it out. You can't convert it. We had a coworker with cancer, and I wanted to donate my time off, and they wouldn't let us do it. Because it's just that really, you don't have a way where we could put our hours back into a bank and then you use that bank, probably because they didn't want to look like they were, giving somebody more PTO than somebody else. And so they, but we wanted to help out, our coworker with cancer. And so for some of us, the PTO is you don't use it, you lose it. So, if you want the paid time off, you don't want to go into work, use it. Others, they do get to carry it over, or they get to cash it out and make money on the process. I think that's pretty damn cool. And so for me, my PTO, I only had like 2 weeks when I was in residency. So I saved that. In medical school, I saved that when I got married. I think in third year, I used it to travel between cities that I had to study for. And I think I might have used it to study for the boards. And then in residency, I was a workaholic. I don't think I really used much until I had a baby. And then I used that full 2 weeks off. And then I went back to work after 2 weeks with the baby. And then when I had my office, I only took off 3 days with the baby. So I think PTO and paid time off is important to use. You really should use it so you don't get burned out. And it's yours. It means you get to not go into work and you still get a full paycheck. It's nice depending on how many days you have. But I didn't realize how many people are anxious about asking for the PTO. So you don't use your PTO. You don't feel like you need it. You save it. And I'm the type of person that would save it for a rainy day. And I have friends and family members who have been saving. And then they're like, wait a second, I never used it. And I feel like I'm going to regret not using it. But then if you go up to your boss and you're working in medicine, this is a busy time of year. Not the easiest time of year to take off if you work in the medical field. If you have a private clinic, yeah, you might close down. But if you have to work in a hospital, it's not the easiest time to take off. And so, how do you bring up the topic so you don't get your boss upset? So communication is always key. How I would do that is I would tell my boss, look, I don't like to call out. I like to save my PTO for a rainy day in case we get sick, etc. The thing is I have PTO. And he's going to be like, you're going to lose it if you don't use it. And I'm like, I want to use it, but I don't want to put you in a jam. What's the best way to do this? Try not to wait till the last minute. You don't want to wait till the last minute. If you're sick and you call out sick, there's only so much you can do if you're sick. And yes, you're going to utilize your PTO. And a lot of people are having flu, so, they'll believe you. I don't want you to lie to your boss. But if you feel like, look, I really think that they need me, and talk to them about that. And maybe they'll make it up to you, or maybe, unfortunately with corporations, they can't give you more PTO. They can't roll it over. I personally think PTO should not be given in January as the renewal. I think it should be given right before the fall or at the end of summer, or maybe even fiscal year July 1. I think the problem is people use it as soon as they get it, they use it in January or February, or they use it for summer vacation, and then comes cough and cold and flu season in the fall, and they don't have any more sick leave, they don't have any more PTO. And so I would prefer to renew it for employees when it's right before the time when we think they're going to need it, the holidays, etc. Now, I heard of one boss where he would give them their PTO based on when he thought you should take the vacation. Now, I didn't think his workers like that, but he said, I'm going to be giving you a whole week off. You get 40 hours. So you're going to get a whole week off, but I'm going to tell you when. Because he didn't want everybody taking off at the same time. He didn't want to not have staff. I don't know if the labor board's okay with that. I mean, I guess they're getting their paid time off, but I'd rather, for me, my paid time off, if I ever do get that again, is where I could, use it as I need it, save it up. I really think if you're an employer, it's a smart idea to let there be a 50% buyout, something like that. Because if you don't like your staff calling out and they think they're going to get money in the bank for that extra time off that they didn't use, they might be more willing to save it. Now, I don't want people coming to work because they're sick. If you're sick, stay home because you'll make everybody else sick. And don't sit there all miserable and lying in a corner. I mean, take off, use your PTO. But I like the idea of incentivizing where if you don't use it, you get something back. I think that's pretty good. And then this way, the boss knows that if you're using it, there's a really good reason. And like I said, it doesn't have to be 100%. I mean, it could be 50%. Sadly, there was a teacher that talked about how his school district offered him 33% buyback. He doesn't take any time off. But then when he does realize he has to use his PTO, they said they would pay him 33% of it. And, he was like, oh, gosh, he said, I've been a teacher. Taking time off the school year, well, that's actually another teacher's. Not taking time off is pretty admirable. Not calling out, costing the school district money to pay for a sub. So you would think that people would be a little bit more enthusiastic about employees not using up their PTO. But to use it or not use it, if you're going to lose it, you use it. But talk to your boss. Make sure your boss is not going to be up, a creek. See if there's anything you could do to, ease that transition. But I would take off. You need that time off. You need to rest up. I just wish we got it in the summer or in the fall because unfortunately a lot of people have used it up. They don't have any. And now they're facing cough and cold and flu season. 1-877 Dr. Dolly. Don't go away. All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877 DOCDALI. Well, flu season is here. And I hate flu season. I hate COVID season. I hate cough and cold season. I love the holiday season. But I got to tell you, it's a bad one this year. CDC is showing a 14% increase in hospitalizations and a 4% increase in visits to a medical care provider for respiratory illness. From the most recent data, I'm telling you, I think that 4% is a lot more. We've already had 2 pediatric deaths from the flu. That was according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Last year's flu season hit a tragic milestone as the most fatal for kids, with 288 kids dying from influenza. Now, I've been asked, why were more kids dying of flu than before? I mean, we've had flu. We know flu kills, but what's going on? 288 kids. Well, how does flu kill? Flu itself is a virus that rarely kills, but it's the complications you could get with flu, like the pneumonia. If you get a viral pneumonia or a bacterial pneumonia, that prevents your breathing. If you get a bacterial infection, a secondary bacterial infection, or a sepsis, or if you go into respiratory distress. Like for some people with COVID did nothing to them. They were just a simple cold. But to other people with COVID, man, it was rough. And it caused a debilitating lung issue, a cytokine storm. The immune system caused lungs to fill up and people basically drowned from the inside. And so, depending on your, health status and your vulnerabilities, we do recommend the flu shot. We've talked about the flu shot. It could range anywhere from being 12% effective to 60% effective. 60% effectiveness is good on a good year. We're never going to be 100% because we have to decide what we're going to protect you with from the flu the February before flu season. We can't wait till Australia's flu season. Australia's flu season runs May through November. Ours runs November through May, sometimes October through May. We can't wait for Australia's flu season. So we take our best guess in February, then get it manufactured, tested, distributed, so that it's in the pharmacies by August of our flu season year. But the flu season is still protective. Even if it's only 12 or 14 or 16% effective one year, that still, is protective to a degree. I've never gotten the flu on the years that I've gotten the flu shot. But 288 kids dying from flu last year, it starts to make you wonder if RFK Jr. is right, where we have, an unhealthy pediatric population. I don't want to see anybody die from the flu. It's the flu. Now, it could be, I'd like to know more about those kids. Do they all have immunocompromised states? Or is it that we think they're healthy, but because they're overweight, have prediabetes, have, enlarged hearts, other metabolic issues, then maybe they're not able to withstand typical flu. We do vaccinate kids for flu, and we do have vaccines for kids. We have the shot that we give to anybody over 6 months old, and then we have the nasal vaccine we could give if they're older than 2. The nasal vaccine the kids like because you spray it in the nose. I don't like things up my nose, but these kids like it better than a shot. So they get a spray in their nose. Everybody laughs. They snort. And, it's an live attenuated virus of the flu. So the vaccine is live attenuated, meaning they are a very weakened form of active flu. Should not make you sick, but we avoid that in pregnant people, immunocompromised people, and infants, those under 2 years old. With the inactivated shot, it won't give you flu. It is a killed version of like the skeleton of the flu. And so, people say, well, I can't get the flu shot because it gives me the flu. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. I believe you. If you feel sick after the shot, there's a few reasons for that. You're not getting flu from the shot, the flu vaccine. That's the inactivated because we don't use active flu. But you might get an immune reaction, like a lot of us felt sick after the COVID shot. It might be your immune system activating. It could also be you got the flu before you got your shot, and so you ended up getting the flu, or the shot hadn't had a chance to kick in yet, because usually you need to get your shot in at least a couple weeks prior. And it could also be something else that makes you feel like the flu. But if you test positive for the flu after the flu shot, that's rare. But we don't want you not feeling well. We want you protected. That's most important. And so we have flu A, flu B. I'm seeing a lot of flu A and flu B. People are testing positive for these. Flu A is more common now. We do see more flu B as we go into the later part of the flu season. There's also a subclade K. We're seeing a lot of that. And so the numbers are going up. And, people ask, well, listen, how do I know I have flu, COVID? So one thing that's been frustrating people is they'll call a telemedicine company and they'll say, I have the flu. And the doctor, because we're, starting to get low on Tamiflu and flu medication, they'll say, have you tested? And they're like, no, I haven't tested for flu, but I'm negative for COVID. So I took an at-home COVID test, one of the old ones. It said I don't have COVID, so it must be flu. We can't diagnose you with flu because an at-home COVID test is negative. That could still be COVID. So now luckily we have flu testing. I would recommend you get a flu test because if you do test positive, you could upload that picture to a telemedicine company and then they could hopefully treat you. Symptoms of flu versus cold versus, COVID. It's interesting. Flu, usually it hits you like a ton of brick. You could tell me the time of day when you got sick. Well, we had a meeting, then we had lunch. I went to my cubicle, and then at 2:30, I got the flu. I mean, you could almost tell me the time of day because the virus, after it infects a bunch of cells and lyses those, and then more cells to make more virus, by the time your body senses that the virus is taking over and then the immune system jumps in and you start to feel achy and the fever and all that, it comes on pretty quickly. With flu, the symptoms last anywhere from 5 to 7 days. You could get secondary bronchitis, a chronic cough, pneumonia, heart disease, stroke, other things. But for a healthy individual, most of the time their flu lasts about 5 to 7 days. And then you're done. COVID is a little different. With COVID, the symptoms wax and wane. they progress. They start off with the sore throat. Then they might go into the sinus congestion. Then you get the bad headache. Then you get maybe the cough. And then the symptoms could go on for weeks. In terms of fever, usually with flu, there's a high fever. With COVID, either no fever or a milder fever. Some people with COVID will get a high fever, but on the whole, we usually see a higher fever with flu. But what's been very interesting about this time of year is I'm seeing some of these flu cases with no fever. They're testing positive for flu and they don't have a fever. So don't wait for the fever. Test yourself so you know what you have. Colds, kind of like COVID, where they wax and wane, sometimes no fever. With colds, you usually don't get body aches with the cold. You might get the runny nose and the sneezing and the coughing and all that, but it's milder and it seems to go away in 7 to 10 days. Now, some people say, well, I have vomiting and diarrhea. Does that mean I have flu or COVID? Both. Flu and COVID, you could get vomiting and diarrhea. It doesn't necessarily have to mean your GI system is getting attacked. It could just be that your, when people are sick, sometimes they do start to have a change in bowels. When I had a patient with ear infection, the number one complaint a kid with an ear infection had wasn't ear pain. The mom brought them in for diarrhea. And I would look at the ear and go, wow, the ear's red. So the diarrhea prompted the parents. So before the ear started to hurt, I could tell that they were about to get an ear infection. And then I'd look at the ear and I'm like, wow. So a lot of times your bowels will change. And that could just be because you have a virus. Allergies, much different. Allergies, it's clear nasal discharge, not thick. Yellow and green doesn't always mean a bacteria. It could still be a virus. But with allergies, it's more clear. You could predict when you're going to sneeze. It's cyclical, where you'll just go into sneezing fits, and then it will stop. You'll feel a scratchy throat as opposed to a sore throat. But unfortunately, allergies could also be dangerous because you could wheeze, have difficulty breathing. And a lot of people get winter allergies. They're in the house, there's mold, there's dust. And so don't think just because it's allergies, you don't need to see a medical provider. You may have to and get yourself treated. So, we struggle during, cough, cold and flu season. And this flu season, I do think is more aggressive. Now, I don't know why it's more aggressive. I can't say that yet. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of theories. It could be because COVID is taking a back seat. We had a big COVID surge in the fall, and it could be that COVID is now going down. So now flu has access to the cells. And, whoever gets access to the cells usually gets you first. There is flu Rona where you could get both COVID and flu at the same time. It's rare, but it does happen, which is another reason why I recommend that anybody who gets diagnosed with flu gets themselves checked out. Because if you also have COVID, you need to be treated for COVID. Flu, gratefully, will, as long as you don't get the complications, will go away in 5 to 7 days. But COVID, that could last for months. So I know I'm teaching you guys something. Wow. So hopefully you don't get the flu. Wash your hands, fluids, hydrate, eat right, sleep well. Try not to be around somebody who's sick. Isolate if you have to. Get the flu shot. If you and your doctor think that's the best thing for you, go from there. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regenerations. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So the first hot flash I got, I was in my 30s. I was public speaking, huge room of people, and all of a sudden, I just got hot. And then I started to feel my makeup, and I wasn't wearing that much, but I could start to feel the makeup drip. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I'm very honest. So just while I was up there, I go, guys, I'm sorry, but I think I'm having my first hot flash. And then the attorney general who was sitting up front was like trying to fan me off. And he's like that. And it was really embarrassing. It wasn't so much I was feeling bad, but I was embarrassed. But I'm blessed because what women and suffer with when it comes to hot flashes is it's barbaric. And I am very, very grateful for our next guest. We have Dr. Diana Bittner, Chief Medical Officer of Women's Health, of Medical Officer of True Women's Health, Assistant Professor at Michigan State University of Human Medicine, and Wendy Lee Curtis. She's experienced moderate to severe hot flashes due to menopause, a huge patient advocate, and we all know Wendy, veteran news anchor. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
Our pleasure. Thank you for talking about menopause.
Yes,
Wow.
And I resemble that remark. We are kindred spirits.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Great. So either one of you could start. Talk to us about your experience with moderate to severe hot flashes due to menopause.
So, every woman experiences hot flashes differently. And what I would say about mine is, I have moderate to severe flashes that can come on suddenly, right? So my hot flashes just happen anytime, any place. And when they're severe, they can really impact what I'm doing, whether it's at home, it shows up, as hot flashes at night, disrupting my rest and my sleep, or at work when I'm in front of the camera, having the same experience that you had with the sweat running down my face, or with my friends, if I'm, enjoying an adult beverage, suddenly it's just Niagara Falls.
Right. I mean, I'm too busy. I need to do and finish what I'm doing. I don't need to stop. And it's, the pathophysiology is fascinating. I know we don't have a lot of time, but Dr. Diana Bittner, talk to us about why this happens and why we go through these vasomotor symptoms.
Yeah, it's one of the most common reasons people seek care during menopause. These moderate to severe hot flashes and night sweats happen as estrogen levels drop. So as estrogen levels drop, someone gets closer to menopause and then through on the other side, those hot flashes and night sweats start, and those moderate hot flashes start from the inside and just progress and can be a sense of warmth, as you know, that spreads. And those severe hot flashes are very distracting and can cause sweating and, again, just a lot of distraction waking in the night. You know, I'm here, of course, as a doc, but I had my own experience, like, operating with all the surgical garb on and then having a hot flash. So it was one of the reasons that I chose to get into this line of work after leaving OBGYN.
And, you know, so this medicine, Linquet, fascinating. Talk to us about what that is.
It is fascinating, and such good news that we have more options. Linquet is a prescription, FDA-approved, non-hormone medication that is indicated for the treatment of moderate to severe hot flashes due to menopause. So it's backed up by clinical data from the OASIS clinical trials that looked at the efficacy and the safety of Linquet.
A lot of people do not qualify for hormones, you know, with either breast cancer or blood clots. And so what's exciting about this is there's other options. And Wendy Lee Curtis, you've been using this, correct?
No, I have not, but I am absolutely 10 toes down in the realm of advocating for women seeking the care and talking about their symptoms so that they can get any measure of relief that can be gotten. Dr. Bittner talked a bit about the disruption and the distraction that moderate to severe hot flashes can have on a woman's life. And I'm just here to let women know that you don't have to go through life like this. There is a way to get care that is commensurate with your health needs and your health profile, and you just need to partner with your health team to get it done.
You know, I love what you're doing, Wendy, because, you know, a lot of us feel ashamed. We feel like, okay, well, now we've lost our youth. Now we've lost our things are getting better. I mean, you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, but people feel that shame. They feel that embarrassment. So having you advocate for them is a godsend. That's wonderful.
Thank you. And, you know, when you're the person standing there in front of the microphone, you're supposed to look like you have it all together. And so when suddenly the fact that something you have no control over is controlling you, it's discombobulating. It's a difficult truth to come to and to have to navigate. But again, there is care, there is treatment, and that's why I'm here. I wish that I jumped into it sooner.
Yep. And too many women suffer in silence. It's just so important to seek that care and get answers.
Exactly. Well, I wasn't silent. I was complaining the whole time. But yeah, a lot. Sadly, they do. I know we're coming up on the end. Doctor, anything else you'd like to talk to us about the safety and efficacy of Linquet?
Well, it's really important to talk about the safety and that it can cause nervous system effects. For example, if a woman has a history of seizures, it can increase the risk that she'll have a seizure. Of course, pregnant women should not take this. The most common side effects are headache and fatigue, and we know that it can increase the liver lab values. So it's really important to talk to a healthcare provider to see if this is right for you and to check out the prescribing information at linquet.com.
Absolutely. Where else can my listeners go for more information? You guys have been absolutely amazing.
You are too. Thank you for talking about this. People can go to linquet.com. That's LYNKUET.com and talk to your healthcare provider and see if it's right for you.
Dr. Diana Bittner, Wendy Lee Curtis, thank you ladies so much. We know there's a heart out. Appreciate you guys. Can't wait to have you back.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Interestingly, when I went through the menopause stuff, mine was different because I was in my 30s. So I'm in my late 30s and I'm starting to get hot flashes. And, you know, to me, I felt like I still was 16 in my head. And then I had to kind of remind myself that my body's going through changes. But I was still having my period. I was like, well, I guess, you know, if this is the worst of it, I'll just move on, whatever. But where menopause manifested for me was I wasn't sleeping. And so I go to my gynecologist for my regular exam, and she's like, how are you doing? And I go, I don't sleep well. She goes, let me test you for menopause. Now, mind you, I'm a physician. I've been doing gynecology for years. But I'm like, I know I'm not in menopause because I've been having hot flashes for a while. They're rare. They're far and few between. The period is, just like I was when I was 16. I don't think and I was in full blown menopause. I had the labs of somebody who hadn't had their period in years, but I was still having my period. And I was like, are you kidding me? But I didn't have really bad hot flashes. I just assumed that I was going to get really smacked in the face when I turned 50 because I was in my 40s. And she's like, you can't sleep. And so I think that's what it is. And she was right. She's a fantastic doctor, Dr. Kirsten Rogers. So luckily for me, I was able to do hormones. But if God forbid I end up having an abnormal mammogram or something like that, I won't be able to do hormones again. And I've been able to sleep really, really well. I have like a topical estrogen progesterone preparation that I use. And actually, no progesterone, testosterone. Because I've had a hysterectomy, I don't need the progesterone. But I'm very, very nervous because if I can't use hormones, either because of, any medical issues or blood clot issues or breast cancer issues, I don't have an option. So the Linquet, sounds fascinating. So I'm going to definitely look more into that. But, men too, testosterone. Our testosterone doesn't necessarily go down the same rate, as estrogen would. I mean, for a woman, it's a lot more abrupt. But a man's testosterone being low could suggest other medical issues like diabetes, other endocrine issues. So many men, they'll test their testosterone, they're still in the normal level, and they're like, well, I guess I'm good. But if that level dropped a couple hundred points, that it might need to be addressed. So everybody should get their hormones checked. 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away. Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, 1-877-DOC-DALI. This 6-7 thing we talked about, right? 6-7. These kids are, we went into where it came from with the rapper, and it came from drill rap, and he said 6-7, and then Sportscaster linked it to, I forget, one of the basketball players. And 6-7 is this trend where the kids just, anytime they hear 6-7, whether it's accounting in, with exercise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then everybody screams 6-7. So this viral trend that has annoyed a lot of people. I haven't minded it because these kids have done so many stupid things, from the Tide Pod challenge to the fire challenge to snorting cinnamon, that if they're just going to be screaming 6-7, I have no problem with that. That's fine with me. And one video that has gone viral came from In-N-Out. In-N-Out got a lot of attention with this, and I don't understand what they're doing. And so, Doot Doot 6-7 by Skrilla. It has this lyric 6-7, and then LaMelo Ball is 6-7. So when the sportscaster said it, everybody just kind of okay. Anyway, so they're at In-N-Out. I guess somebody had the ticket 67. So the kid, that was working there, very cutely, goes, all right, guys, wait for it. And then he goes 6-7, and everybody's yelling and jumping up and down. And I actually like the video. That video makes me smile with In-N-Out. I think it's, because these kids aren't doing drugs. They're excited about two numbers, right? In a numeric sequence. Yeah, it's stupid, but it's not as stupid as Tide Pods, trying to eat Tide Pods, or, licking toilet seats like they were doing during COVID. There was some real stupid stuff people were doing. Well, In-N-Out now, you would think, after getting all that great press, all that attention on videos, is removing 6-7 from its ordering system. Why would they do that? They had all this attention. So People confirms that the West Coast burger chain has removed 6-7 from their orders, meaning if you're number 68 or 66, you would, and I'm sure people make, there's other numbers that I'm sure people make a big deal about, but 6'7", no sexual connotations. No, and I get it. It was in a drill rap song, but they're just saying 6'7" to say 6'7". They're not doing it to call for violence or anything like that. But apparently they've taken that number. And so, wait, so you'll either be, I guess customer 66 or customer 69 or 68. And I guess an employee at a Los Angeles location confirmed to people that the number was removed about a month ago. And because of people with six senses of humor, they also banned the number 69. So, just what's really interesting about this is we've been telling kids to not do stupid, to not hurt themselves. So they come up with something else to feel, I guess, connected with their community. And then In and Out, who was getting business from this, because I'm sure people are like, look, I want to go to, and it could have been, I mean, there's always a backstory. It could have been that people are like, I want to order a burger. What number are we on? Well, the number we're on is like 158. No, then you know what, never mind, I'm leaving. So it could be, but I mean, they weren't a customer anyway. That's not the biggest deal. Or maybe there were some franchisees that said, you know what, let's just get numbers in the 60s. So then we could just keep doing this and getting more and more attention. So I don't know, but I personally wouldn't have gotten rid of it. I think this was good. But in fact, 6'7" was immortalized as the choice of Dictionary.com's word of the year, a viral, ambiguous slang term that has waffled its way through Gen Alpha social media and social hallways. Largely nonsensical. Some argue means so-so, maybe this, maybe that. You pair it with a hand gesture with both palms facing up and move alternately up and down, like you're balancing some balls. But they say it is brain rot slang and intended to be nonsensical and playfully absurd. Honestly, guys, it's definitely better than what other kids were doing. Now, Wendy's and Pizza Hut got on board. They have 67-cent Frosty deal and 67-cent wings. All right, good. Listen, there's so many other things people could be doing, so I'm fine with that. This article caught my eye. One thing that I find interesting is when you have one thing I just find fascinating is Bruce Willis could have been in Lord of the Rings. Viggo Mortensen, who played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, could have been Wolverine. When you look at stars who could have been in it, and I'm glad the movies casted who they casted, but I always find that fascinating. Another topic I find fascinating is this one from Spoiler US, 25 actors who hate their most famous role. Now, you're thinking about that. You're like, why would somebody dislike a role that got them famous? So one actor, they say, was Agnes T. Jones, who played, I guess, Jake Harper in 2.5 Men. He, I guess, denounced the show, calling it filth. That was after he got, I guess, a religious awakening, but he did not like that. Andrew Lincoln, who played Rick Grimes in Walking Dead. He apparently said it wore him down, the time away from his family, and left the show. I liked him in Walking Dead. In fact, I think things went downhill after he left. Sally Field, who played Forrest Gump's mom in Forrest Gump, she said that the role didn't offer the complexity she typically seeks. I thought she did a fantastic job, but she likes more challenging roles, I guess. Katherine Heigl, who played Dr. Izzy Stevens in Grey's Anatomy, she said that she wasn't given material worthy of a nomination, and she criticized the show's long working hours and behind-the-scenes drama. So that was interesting. I mean, you would think, gosh, get this, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. He saw his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi as a low point. According to Spoiler US, he found the dialogue clunky and the premise juvenile, once calling Star Wars fairy tale rubbish. Then it typecasted him, and it overshadowed some of his earlier work. Wow. See, I'd be like, thank God, thank God, thank God. Mark Wahlberg was Dirk Diggler in Boogie Nights. And I've heard that some people say Boogie Nights, he's regretted taking that role, also now he's a lot more religious because there's a lot of explicit content, but he says that role does not depict who he is today. George Reeves, who was the original Superman in the maybe not the original, but he was the most famous TV show Superman. He said it made him difficult to find serious acting work afterwards because he was always typecast as a children's TV hero. He ends up dying in 1959, officially ruled a suicide. But people think it's because of the frustration he had after being typecast as Superman. Because everybody saw him, thought it was Superman. Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith in The Matrix. Very famous in The Matrix. And he was also in Lord of the Rings. He said he didn't want to go to The Matrix Resurrections. He said he had scheduling conflicts. That's interesting. He also prefers stage work. I thought I did a good job in that. Jennifer Lawrence playing Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games. She, didn't like the franchise's intense schedule, massive media attention, made her feel like she was a commodity. I'm blown away by this because I'm like, come on, man. This is a good gig. Daniel Craig playing James Bond. He's been very famously open about not liking that role, and he said he'd rather slash his wrist than return for another Bond film. You were James flippin' Bond. Miley Cyrus didn't like Hannah Montana. Claire Danes and Romeo and Juliet. Christopher Plummer regretted The Sound of Music. No way. 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.